T.S. Eliot says, "For last year's words belong to last year's language, and next year's words await another voice." I have one assignment for you today, and that is to reflect on 2024, specifically on what your most prominent thoughts were. The most important thing that you ever say to anyone is what you say to yourself. I want you to check in with your thoughts. Keep every thought captive. Your thoughts determines how you feel, and how you feel determines your actions. Your actions determine your results, and those results are what you really want. So if we start with the thought, we can really start to control how we feel. There's actually a whole branch of psychology, of medicine, that is called psychoneuroimmunology. It's a combination of psychology, neurology, and immunology. And essentially, what it is how your thoughts and what goes on in your subconscious and in your brain affects your health and your physical symptoms. When I was going through school, I took a couple of courses on music therapy. And this is where I learned about psychoneural immunology. And the most crazy thing that I learned about this is that every part of your body, your gut, your brain, like if you have headaches, if you experience stress in your body, like tension, it all can be brought back to feelings and suppressed emotions. So let's say you're struggling with unforgiveness or bitterness against something someone did. You're going to feel that in joint pain. You're going to feel that with headaches, tension in your body. So what we want to do is take a moment and assess how we felt in 2024, what our most prominent thoughts were, and then really close our eyes, unless you're watching this in the car or listening to this in the car. Don't close your eyes. But close your eyes and just assess how you felt and how you're feeling right now. We're about to hop into a new year. It is December 30th, 2024, as this episode goes out. So I was doing a little bit of research, and the number one feeling that most entrepreneurs have this time of year is anxiety. Anxiety has a very specific cue that the body shows, and it actually is with your heart rate being raised by about 10%. So if you think about your body being, let's say 70 BPM is your average, 10% higher is 77. So this is a signal that your body is in fight and flight mode. And 10% is the minimum. It may go up to, let's say, 100 or 110 as you're feeling anxious. And this is not a state that we can continue living in. It is not something you want to go into the new year with. So I have very good news for you. There's actually a music therapy principle that I use with my clients that can lower your heart rate. And you're going to actually learn about it today. We're going to do one round of this with the specific emotional flip of anxiety to feeling calm. I am so excited for you to experience this. So the reason that I chose anxiety to calm is if you stay in this elevated heart rate state, this high cortisol state, it can actually damage your heart. You can experience heart damage through the course of your life if you stay here. Now, the good news is it doesn't have to take much time. In fact, the right music can actually switch your emotional state, specifically the chemicals in your brain, in only 3 minutes. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to play a piece of music for you that is about I think it's actually going to be less than 3 minutes, but it's going to gradually change the emotion so that you can start feeling very calm. The principle we're going to use is called the ISO principle. The word ISO in Greek means equal. So we are going to equalize the emotion. Take the emotion you're currently feeling, match how you're feeling, and then gradually shift the music so that your physical symptoms change and so that your feelings change. And emotions, when they change, you're able to take action in a brand new way. And this is the kind of energy that we want to be entering the new year with. And a sense of control and excitement and calm, just a calm confidence that you've got this, that you can really take 2025 by the horns and really reach those goals. So let's do the musical emotion switching through the ISO principle. So the portion of the piece I'm going to play is by Samuel Barber. This is the cello sonata in C minor. And if my voice sounds a little bit different if you're listening to the podcast, I just moved my mic back so that the sound of the cello can come through really beautifully. So here's your current state, maybe of a bit of anxiety. Still very intense. And then we're going to switch to something that is still intense. It's almost like we've lost hope. And here's how we want to feel. That melody is too beautiful for words. And what this does for you is it completely changes your brain. Your brain chemistry just changed. And in fact, this actually has the same effect on people whether they are hearing or deaf. So when I was researching the ISO principle in preparation for this video, I found this incredible article talking about how a quartet actually played a specific piece, the Tchaikovsky Andante String Quartet, number 1. And Helen Keller was the one who requested this piece. She was sitting with her fingertips resting on a resonant tabletop. This was so that she could sense the vibrations. And she as well reacted strongly. Her heart rate lowered. Her brain chemistry switched from cortisol to dopamine. Like her whole expression changed. So I want you to feel like the first bit of that piece, the one that was filled with anxiety, that it validated your anxiety, that it made you feel understood. And by the end of it, you were feeling calmer. Now we can actually do this to about a 10x level when we use music that you specifically resonate with. Maybe the Barber Sonata isn't specifically your cup of tea. It's not the kind of music you normally listen to. For me personally, the Barber Sonata it connects to me emotionally almost like nothing else. It is absolutely stunning. But what we want to do is use our cortisol and our anxiety actually for good. So you might be thinking stress and anxiety, it's actually very bad. It's not a good thing. So here's the thing. I'm a professional musician. I have been for 20 years now. And I still get nervous every single time I go on stage. What this means for you is that you can learn from that feeling. When you're feeling anxious, we can reframe it. What that anxiety means is that you care. Every single emotion is information to guide your actions. We don't have to push away any emotion at all when we come to emotions with this approach. We can change them if we want to a more desired state so that we're not living in that high cortisol, high heart rate mode, that anxious mode. But the cool thing is that your body was actually made to spike with cortisol at specific times of day to get you going, and then to slowly wane as the day ends. Your chronotype actually has very specific spikes of cortisol, spikes of body temperature, things that kind of get you going. And this can help you actually strategically plan your day for the most efficient day possible. This is where you get up and every work block that you have is connected not only to your cycle, it's connected to your chronotype, it is connected to your emotions, and that way we can actually use everything to your advantage instead of fighting ourselves constantly. So this change of emotion that you just experienced, this is something I do with my innovative entrepreneurial clients. We do this in one of the weeks where we specifically actually find the music that they love. Now, recently, one of my clients, she loves Debussy. So what I did is I pulled up the music quickly on Google and played her the Debussy Cello Sonata to calm her down. And she actually had 6 different breakthroughs on how to sell the things she's creating in the Innovation Incubator. So I want to give you a couple of principles to follow as you're setting up your new year for innovation. Now that you have a calm brain, lowered cortisol levels, raised dopamine levels. And to start off with, I'm going to give you the definition of innovation. So innovation comes from the Latin root innovate, which means renewed, altered. And it means to make something new. So the word novus, innovate, means new. So the new year, or rather the word innovate, literally means new. It is perfect for December 30th, which is when this episode comes out. Maybe you're listening to it first week of January. But the question that I have for you is, how are we going to sustain this feeling of newness throughout the year? How are we going to have fresh motivation? And that brings me to one of my favorite quotes by Zig Ziglar. He says, people often say motivation doesn't last. Well, neither does bathing. That's why we recommend it daily. So maybe you feel a lot of New Year's motivation right now. You feel newness, a sense of excitement. And I hate to break it to you, but truly it's not going to last. You want to have a way to refresh that feeling of motivation. Literally change the chemicals in your brain that are connected to motivation, aka dopamine, and have this sense of newness all year long. The result of this is you'll be, number one, putting out content consistently. You'll be following up with people consistently, actually consistently, not just in spurts. You'll be able to commit to projects and see them to completion. And most importantly, you'll be able to trust the work that you're doing. Trust that the work you're doing is going to bring you to a different place at the end of 2025, a transformed place. And that is really what you want, isn't it? So with that, if that's what you want, hit subscribe to the podcast and then head to the description box to sign up for the January 10x Your Creativity Challenge. It really is the perfect container to start capitalizing on that New Year's energy and 10x your creativity so that you can live 2025 with motivation, with innovation, and with energy. See you in 2025 for the next episode.